Okay, here's the situation. I was talking about the flat tax situation. The burden of the tax says the burden of the entire tax system is another story, but the burden of the tax system as it pertains to the flat tax versus the income tax. We're talking about income tax here. And if we weren't talking about income tax, what are they talking about? You know, think about it. The 999 plan, the 20% flat tax. I mean, you don't hear everybody out there on the media channels, you know, and online and everywhere talking about what. I mean, you can read the plan yourself, but why don't they come out and say, look, this plan is going to eliminate federal income tax. It doesn't really say anything about state income tax. Doesn't say much. I'm assuming, I don't know what they're doing, but when you get to my solution here at the end of this, it's going to be real simple, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about, but the state income tax will remain intact, okay? I don't know what they're doing or what they're telling people, but I haven't heard. I'm an avid watcher, you know. I try to look at the media situations. I try to figure out what's going on. I like to watch different programs, different views, because I put things together as the void. You know, you find out the void, and then you look at the void. And that's pretty much how you can get your news nowadays. I mean, it's the only way to get it, really. But moving on, the state income tax would have to remain there, as well as, you know, Social Security. I think they're trying to throw out. So I don't know really what they're going to be doing with that. But Social Security, state income tax. I think there's one more in there. Man. Oh, Medicare, Medicaid, Medicare. Those are going to have to remain the same, okay? So you got to remember, those numbers are there. So how much are you really paying federal taxes, okay? You're not getting you're not going free and clear, baby. It's not going to happen. No one's going to go without paying taxes. No one should want to go without paying taxes. We're going to pay taxes one way or another. Now, people, if you want to talk about the state income taxes are great, because think about this. If you didn't have, state income taxes are great. I'm serious though when I say that. They are great, because if you didn't have a state income tax, you would have an increased federal tax, because the federal government would have to give the money to the state. The money's got to come from anywhere. Now, what I will say is that if there wasn't a state income tax, there wouldn't be a huge state government. You wouldn't have, you know, all these people employed by the state government with mandatory raises. Now, I don't mind people getting employed by the state government, but we both know there was a private sector and a public sector. The public sector, the government sector, always made a little bit less money, and the private sector was up here. Now, because you made a little less money, usually you had a nice benefit. So you get some benefits, and you come to about there. It was pretty close, because the benefit package, you still get it in private, but not all the time. So what's happened here is, over time, the private sector right here has gone down to here. And not only did it go to here, because in 1950, it was here. The public sector did here, and the private sector did here. The wages were here for public, but the benefits outweighed and got them to here, okay? Now we'll reverse that. Private sector, here. That's not bad. If that was all it was, it'd be great, but it's somehow gotten down to here. Here, it's this much, okay, buds? It's a big deal. It's a big deal, and it's not right, because in the end, the private sector pays for the public sector. So it's easy to see the economics. If the private sector down here is coming through with this cash, throwing it up to the public sector up here, but the public sector is making more money and has more employees, this relationship of shooting the cash up can't last for too long before this area fizzles and dies. And that's the problem we're in today. Our private sector is fizzling and dying. You've got to figure out why. And you don't have to figure out why, you just got to ask Josh. It's pretty simple. I know why. I haven't been asked yet, so I'm coming in my own little way, you know. I'm coming in at you guys basically. I am a writer. I want to write a story here, But at the same time, I want to make sure that the different plot lines all come together in the end, and they will. They will. This is just how I do things. So we have a separation in the private and the public sector, and that has caused a lot of financial problems. Now, the federal government budget, okay, that's what I'm talking, that's part of it. Now, oh yeah, we were at the state level, but the state, I just wanted you to understand that without the state taxes, because we have to have state income taxes, because if you don't, the federal government needs the money to give to the state, because that's just how they set the system up. I don't want it to be like that. We all know that the states are in charge, okay? I didn't get this out earlier, but we are a republic, okay? We are a democratic republic. We're not a democracy. A democracy is majority rules. A republic is people are born with inalienable rights. Okay? You don't have many of these. You know, there's a difference, and I don't know why, but they stopped teaching this stuff in school. They act like if they teach who the presidents are, they've taught the founding fathers. Isn't that's kind of funny now. Then you got to think about where the money came from for that. Who's in charge of that? Who got their bonus for that? Who's golfing out there? Me caddying for them. Y'all, yeah. I was a caddy back in the day. Caddied for about 20 years. But I'm caddying out there, and these guys are out there enjoying their games. They're having a good old time signing their name for a paycheck on a regular basis. I don't mind that someone has to be in charge. But it doesn't need to be a Department of Education bigwig. It doesn't need to be a Department of anything. It doesn't need to be a Department of Energy. It doesn't need to be a Department of Defense. Okay, we need defense, but you know what we need is a smaller Department of Defense. Okay, and another thing is defense is different than federal military budget spending, and that's another thing. I'm probably going to have 10 or 20 of these. I don't know how many of these am I going to have to make. How many of these am I going to have to get up? I'm just going to keep getting them up because I think people are going to be happy to hear this. I think people are going to be happy to share this kind of information. And most importantly, look it up. Look into it. That's all it is. It's information is the power. And the American public, me, you, double gun you, are being duped ourselves. If it's my opinion that a congressman and a senator can get duped, the public definitely can get duped. So we have to we have to be able to trust our government and trust our friends and family working in government. And we do. We trust them fully. The problem is we don't trust the system who has allowed them to get so large. And not the employees, but the departments. The bureaucracies presently are pretty much account for probably 3%, 4% of the whole budget. The whole budget is 4% trash because inner departments aren't even working properly. Okay, and they don't even have a person that can come in and say, look, we have 50 people here, they have 50 people here. We're the same department, but these people, the other 50 over here, these are the 50 that work it every day. These 50 are in charge. Okay? Now, they're not really in charge of these people. They're in charge of giving the information to the other departments. But these 50 people would be collecting that information from an outside people to another. This 50 gives information out to another 50. Now, I'm in another organization. I got a 50. Now, I got new information. I have to give it to the workers. I give it to the workers. They disseminate. Then they give the information to their own department. That was a weird example. Disseminate them, whatever. The idea is it's not happening efficiently, okay? It's like, if this was a restaurant, I don't even know if they would have been able to stay in business beyond the first 6 months that they already had budgeted. Because think about it, if it was a restaurant, you know, I know the restaurant business a little bit, and I'll admit, I've seen, and I've heard, and firsthand even seen some things I wasn't a part of. But nonetheless, I knew people that were, and I'm not going to say anything. I don't know, I mean, come on, you're a restaurant and you go through $4,000 in food. You know you're closing in a month. Your suppliers don't know you're closing in a month. They don't know that. So what happens is you go as far credit as you can, your 30 days, and you don't pay $4,000 that week, $4,000 the second week, $4,000 the third week, and $4,000 the fourth week. That's 16 grand. You bought a business, at least you have $16,000 in your hand. It's in your hand. So you don't have to, you could technically go out and move totally scot-free to a whole nother location with $16,000. You could possibly get a business partner and open up another business before the credit of the one that you're in hits the books. Instantly, you got a little cash, get going. You want an $80,000 loan, I got $10,000 down. I go get an $80,000 loan. Now I got $80,000. And I had a failing business, okay? I had a failing business.